In life, randomness plays an integral role. Thus, taking risks is unavoidable. How should you take risks? You often hear from traders, high risk, high reward. But is it possible to have low risk and high reward? This is a question that this video is going to try to answer. One of the most important principles to know about risk is risk diversification. It has been popularized by the idiom, don't put all your eggs in one basket. In whatever you do in life, you need to diversify your means of achieving your goal. If you want to study in the US, don't only apply to one program, but instead apply to several ones spread across states and rankings. If you want to become rich, don't only have one source of income, but several ones. And if you want to have wisdom, don't idolize a single thinker, but be open-minded to listen to a mixed array of thinkers. Now let's move on to low risks and high rewards payoffs. More precisely, it is something that requires little effort and with little or no downside, but a possibility of a huge upside. You could also call them positive asymmetric payoffs. This type of payoff is what high-ticket sales guys do. They call a list of clients. For each client, he finds a pain point of that particular client, follows the script, and then makes a pitch at the end of the call. Most of the prospects will find excuses not to buy, but the few who buy more than compensate the others. You don't need to sell 1,000 guys for $10, just 10 guys for $1,000. This is also what pickup artists do. Most of them are just regular guys with higher than average libido, but with higher tolerance of uncertainty. By approaching enough girls, the law of large numbers will inevitably come into play. And by randomness, he will get, let's say, some big payoff. Usually what happens is that those pickup artists cut the parts of the footage where they failed, let's say 90% of the time, and show you only the successes, the 10%. Making the narrative more compelling than it actually is. The same is valid for getting your dream job. Luck plays an important role. It explains also how dumb people can land top jobs. If you apply enough times, the imperfect screening process will inevitably show its flaws, and somebody with a shiny degree and no real qualifications can be hired. He or she might be dumber than you in the field, but is smarter than you at taking risks. Now take the case of YouTubers. A lot of chance is involved in it too. For two equally talented YouTubers, one could become famous, whereas the other stays in his mother's basement for the rest of his life. Maybe because the first YouTuber had the last names that came alphabetically before the second one, so the algorithm picked up his videos and not the second, or maybe some other obscure reason. Only one viral video suffices to make the trajectories between the two completely diverge. I like to call the previous payoffs Gray Swan payoffs because even though they are rare, they are not outliers. There is a regularity to their rareness, a regularity that can be influenced by skill. For instance, your communication skills, decomposed as cadence, tonality, projection, as a sales guy, influence whether or not you close your prospect. We prefer to believe in skills and narratives instead of in chance and statistics, but sometimes the world is so complex and multifaceted that talent alone cannot suffice. In those cases, a roll of the dice determines the outcome. We cannot control the outcome of the dice, but what we can decide is how often we throw it. In other words, increase our exposure, and rejoice and celebrate when we get what we wanted. Gray Swan.